Hi everyone, first of all I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everybody who has watched my latest Walking Dead video and everybody who has subscribed to me over the past 2 weeks since I put the video out. I realised that the amount of views that it's got, you know, most people get those views in like 10 minutes of putting their videos up, but it really means a lot that a lot of people, in my opinion, a lot of people have watched the video, so thank you so much. I can kind of tell that it means that The Walking Dead is quite a popular topic on YouTube, and I do definitely want to get a couple more Walking Dead videos out, you know, definitely want to get a reaction to the season 7 trailer when it shows at Comic-Con, so hopefully I'll get one of those out. Okay, so on to the topic that I'll be talking about today. Being that Frozen was or is the most popular and successful animated film of all time now, there's clearly been a lot of interest in that, and probably riding on the success of that, they are now releasing a Frozen 2. And obviously we know from watching the first one that Elsa is not in a relationship and she doesn't have any, there's no story within the first Frozen that's to do with her and another person, it's just her struggle within herself. So over the past couple of days, and actually a couple of weeks ago, I noticed that there was a hashtag going around on Twitter called Give Elsa a Girlfriend. I read an article that the hashtag was started by somebody called Alexis Moncada, or Moncada, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and it says that she said that she started the hashtag basically to let young girls know that a princess can love another princess. Because Frozen was such a huge film and everybody knows about it, there's a lot more steam rolling with the hashtag to do with Elsa. But when Brave came out, obviously in Brave, Merida does not end up with a prince at the end, she's just on her own. So there were a lot of people who were kind of saying the same thing, like, you know, she doesn't end up with a man at the end, so, you know, make her a lesbian. And it's kind of the same thing with Elsa. It's like, well, you know, because she wasn't seen with a guy, because now they're making Frozen 2, everyone's like, give her a girlfriend then, because, you know, it's 2016. Gay people have been around since, well, you know, we don't know when, but, you know, gay people have definitely been around longer than 2016. Gay people were definitely around when Disney films first started coming out. I'm sure, considering that there's so many people who work for the Disney company in some capacity, I'm sure there are hundreds of thousands of people who work for Disney who are gay themselves. So it's not a new thing. So, you know, saying, oh, make Elsa gay because it's 2016 now, so young girls need to learn about this kind of stuff. Everyone is going to learn about it eventually. I don't think that they should make Elsa a lesbian just because it's 2016 and just because young girls need to know that if you do like girls, that's okay. They will learn that and it is okay. Unfortunately, there are thousands upon millions of people who don't think that's okay and will never think it's okay. Putting it in a Disney film isn't going to change their opinions. They would be the ones who would be like, oh, you're only making her a lesbian because it's 2016 and this is the way that you want to push the gay community onto young children. I don't think that Disney can ever really win with a situation like this. If they give Elsa a straight relationship in the second film, everyone who was pushing for her to be a lesbian will be upset with the Disney company because, you know, they'll be like, there was an opportunity there for you to show kids in a nice, sort of, you know, gentle way that being gay is okay and there's nothing wrong with it. And then if they do make her a lesbian and they do have her having a relationship with a girl in the movie, the other half of the population will be writing them angry letters and saying, why are you making her gay? That there's no need to, young children don't need to see that yet. Which is stupid, because if they can see a girl fall in love with a guy, I mean, you know, the whole girl falling in love with a guy in a day thing is kind of Disney's thing, and obviously when you grow up you realise that that's not realistic, but you also realise that it is just a movie and this is just something that's coming from somebody's imagination. But obviously if a girl can fall in love with a guy on screen, young kids are watching that, so why is it so wrong to see what is normal in real life? I mean, what you're seeing in a Disney film does not happen in real life. We don't have these princesses and these royal kingdoms and these villains that have superpowers. You know, it's a cartoon, it's not real. We don't have those things in real life. Kids understand, they're not stupid. Kids understand that that's not true to real life. But, you know, being in a same-sex relationship is true to real life. That is really happening in the world, and Disney is not the only thing that you can show to your kids, and it's not the only thing that kids are going to see. Kids are going to see, you know, when you go into the supermarket, kids are going to see a guy with a girl, a guy with a guy, a girl with a girl. Kids are going to see that because that's real life, so you can't shield your kids from stuff like that. You can sit them in the living room and give them 100 Disney films to watch. At the end of the day, they're going to go out there into the real world and they're going to see what's really happening, which is a lot of different relationships between different sexes. I like the fact that Merida and Elsa, their stories were not anything to do with true love and going on an adventure and ending up finding a prince to marry, blah blah blah. That's all. I do love that aspect of Disney, and all, you know, pretty much every other film that has a princess in it, she does end up finding a prince and marrying them, and they all live happily ever after. And I do like that. You know, I know it's not real, and I know that's very unrealistic to happen in real life, but I also know that it's a movie and it's just something that I enjoy watching. Their stories do not revolve around true love and do not revolve around chasing after a guy. They revolve around, especially with Elsa, dealing with isolation but actually finding happiness within yourself, not having to be validated by somebody else to realise that you're worth something, actually to look at yourself and realise that you don't need somebody to be constantly telling you you're worthy, you're, you know, all these good qualities about yourself. You can look at yourself and you can tell yourself these things, and it doesn't make you self-righteous or anything like that. If another person can tell you these things, why can't you tell yourself these things? So to be honest, if she again doesn't end up with anybody at the end of the Frozen sequel, I will be satisfied, because, you know, she doesn't necessarily need anybody. And again, it will just be one section of her life, one section of Elsa's story that we see. Whatever the writers decide to do with Elsa, they have created this character, they know this character, and if she happens to end up with a guy, it's gonna upset some people who wanted, you know, the modern world to catch up with the films. If she ends up with a girl, it's gonna upset people who like things to be kept the way they are within Disney films. So, you know, maybe the best thing is for her to just be single again. But then, you know, obviously people will be like, oh, you need to give Elsa somebody. But, you know, do you really need to give her somebody? Does she need to have a relationship to be an important character? Like, she is, her and Merida are, not saying that the other characters are not strong, but both of them are very strong women in their respective films. Kind of the same with Mulan as well. I mean, she saved China all on her own. You know, she was having a bit of a tiff with Shang at that time, but they were never involved before she saved China, and they weren't involved with each other during China, but she wasn't thinking about that at that time. She was too busy saving a whole country all on her own. She didn't need a guy. I mean, she kind of needed a couple of guys to help her with that, but you know, she didn't need a guy in the relationship sense at that point to do what she needed to do for her country. You know, whatever they decide to do with the character, I'm happy with. They've written her, they know who she is as a person, they know her sexual orientation. So whatever they decide to do with her is what is going to happen, and there's really no amount of hashtags that are going to change their opinion or anything like that. They've probably had this character mapped out for a while, and a bit like with J.K. Rowling, how she always has these little bits of information about these Harry Potter characters that are never mentioned in the books. They know these characters and they know what they feel at certain times, so they'll know her sexual orientation. Whether we need to know and whether it needs to be played out on screen, if there's a more important story to tell of Elsa and herself, then I would rather see that than some quest to finding true love. Let me know in the comments what you think, whether you want Elsa to remain single in the next movie, if you want her to find love with a guy, if you want her to find love with a girl, and I will see you next time. Bye.